So exciting. Another awesome time. And there's usually an intro music, but that's okay if there's not. I'll just announce myself in a minute. I'm not hearing the intro music, but you know what? That's okay. Because welcome everybody to the Voices of Women Summit. This is Tiff Loeffler, your positive intelligence coach. And I am so thrilled to be here today. This has been an incredible day already. And we have Kristie Norris. And Kristie Norris is going to talk to us about what is a Zoom producer. And I got to admit, this is my absolute, I am like ecstatic, fascinated. We're going to hear a little bit about Kristie, then she's going to jump into it. Kristie Norris, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at this inspirational event today on International Women's Day.
That's right. Yay. So Kristie, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm so excited to hear.
Okay, well, I'm based in Mid Wales, as you probably tell from the accent. I'm over in the UK, and I love spending time with close friends, whether it be walking, eating out, visiting the theatre or the cinema, and travelling when I get the opportunity. I have enjoyed the experience of living in Odessa, West Texas. So if we've got anyone from Texas in the audience, please do pop it in the chat. I may have visited, you never know. I was lucky to go for 3 years because my dad was part of the team that built the largest wind farm in the world at the time. At the time. It was taken over. So during that amazing time, I got to go on trips with the local Harley Davidson group and the Corvette Club. Absolutely. So lucky to have that experience. So not a surprise to hear that when I returned to the UK, I definitely had the travel bug. So where was my first trip when I came back from the UK? I enjoyed New Zealand. I spent a whole month in New Zealand, and that was my first time traveling solo. Quite a nerve-wracking experience, but one I am so pleased I did. With the amazing highlights of going on a helicopter ride and jet boating. People that know me wouldn't expect me to go jet boating, to have to say, but it was great fun. I say I went twice. Second time I got to enjoy a 3-week experience with a close friend. Such a different experience going with someone to doing it solo, but I'm glad I did both. So do we have anyone from New Zealand in the room today? Because I think we did have someone. Go on, Tiff, are you going to say something?
Well, there's Snowdonia, Wales. I hope I'm saying that right. And yeah, we've got people saying, hey.
So thank you very much. I can see some familiar names in the chat, so thank you very much for turning up and supporting me.
I am so glad that you're just for you're awesome, and I'll do my best to monitor the chat so that you can just enjoy and tell us all about tell us all about being a Zoom producer.
Okay, well, I'm now going to share why a Zoom producer.
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed helping people in any way I can, and after being made redundant, I took the leap to become a business owner and learn a new industry all at once. Quite a big learning curve, starting in the travel industry. But as we all know, in 2020, something crazy happened with the pandemic. So the travel business had to stop. So while I was trying to figure out, what do I do next? I certainly realized I was very lucky to have the company of my parents here during that time, while a lot of people would have been at home on their own. So I didn't waste any time. I had a networking group that I created back in 2018 with 3 other lovely ladies, which we are still going strong today. And we needed to put it online. So we got it online, no wasting any time, got them online. I set up a coffee meet once a week for everybody, not just business owners, but everybody, because we're all stuck at home, which was great fun. And I helped 2 local community groups get their groups online so they could stay connected. So where was I from there? So yes, so connection and supporting people is what I'm all about. I love being able to do both of those. In July 2020, I was part of a lovely group called the Cobra Club, which I'm still part of today, which is an online business community hub. Absolutely amazing space, open every day of the week, working week, so that you can pop in and see different faces, familiar faces, because it can be quite lonely working from home. So they've certainly kept me going. And I'm pleased to say I'm still there. But it was from doing that the Zoom producing became my way of taking my business to the next level. It was my way to enjoy working and supporting other businesses. So the first thing is we've obviously all been working from home a lot more over the last 3 years. So has working from home been good for you? Let me know with a yes or no in the chat.
I'm going to type in yes.
Brilliant.
Oh wait, I should put
The other question is in a typical week, how many people attend online meetings or workshops? Why not share that with me?
I want to say
Good to see
million.
a few yeses there. So, okay, so off with the questions. Now let's start with some Zoom etiquette. We all assume that everybody's been on Zoom for the last 3 years. That is not the case. Not everybody has. So we're going to start off with some tips for attendees. Arrive 5 minutes early. It's always appreciated by the host, so that you get time to settle in and resolve any issues before the session's due to get started. Have a headset close to hand, because you never know when you're going to have problems with sound. Plug a headset in, can normally resolve the issue. If you have your camera on, but all you can see is a black screen, do not worry, you've probably gone from Teams onto Zoom, come out of the meeting, shut your web browser down, back in, and normally all sorted. So here we are for another one. Always great to identify yourself with your name, preferably your full name. How many meetings have you been on where you've seen LP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? The poor host when they try and ask you what your question was. So be kind to your host, put your name so people can tell who you are, and full name there means people can contact you after the meeting. So, okay.
Oh, I just had to say these tips are incredible. Thank you.
Well, the next one, it's polite to keep yourself on mute during a session until you need to speak or invited to be spoken to. Sorry, get my words out there.
And here I interrupted right before. There you go.
And of course, it's always great if you can have your camera on when you're on an online meeting. It's much friendlier for the person rather than seeing just a load of screen names or pictures. But we also do understand there are occasions where it's not possible. Maybe technical issues, could be distractions going on in the background. So we have a time saver tip. If you're asked to respond with a one-word answer, hold the space bar down and you can answer. And as soon as you release the space bar, you're muted again. So how many times do you see people trying to unmute themselves? Don't worry. If you just need to say yes, press the space bar. And one very important thing, always treat virtual meetings in the same way you treat an in-person meeting. Give your full attention and avoid distractions for yourself and those present. Put your phone on silent, no checking of emails, no typing of documents, no checking your social media. Have I missed anything from this list? Please feel free to share any other distractions you've noticed in the chat.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it is nice also when people remember to mute themselves
Yeah,
if there's a lot of background noise.
definitely.
But that space bar thing, how I forgot about that. That is so awesome. Somebody
Hmm.
had, there's been people saying, what's a Zoom producer? What's a Zoom producer? And someone also said, and how can I monetize it? And I was like, ooh, I gotta ask Kristie.
Well, that's exactly what I do. So I enjoy. I will be telling you a bit more as we get a bit further on. So we'll just do a couple more bits, and then you'll
Okay.
hear all about what a Zoom producer does.
Okay, good.
So we have one last thing for attendees. So pay close attention to the host's instructions. Fairly straightforward, but not always done. And one final time saver tip for attendees: have relevant details such as a brief summary about you and contact details in a document. So when you're asked, you can copy and paste. Time much saves you so much time to be able to do that. So we're now on for tips for the host. Very quick, and then we'll be on to what I do as a Zoom producer. So, out of interest, how many people on here run their own online event, whether they've just run one or do them regularly? Let me know. Excellent, brilliant tip. I hope you enjoy running them.
I do.
So, on to the next bit. So, running any online event can be stressful, especially for those new to the process. But also, some experienced presenters also suffer with pre-event nerves until the session is up and running without the glitches. We all worry about those technical hitches. As with anything, planning and good pre-event preparation is always the best course of action. And that includes good habits on the day to minimize errors or technical glitches. So get yourself set up 30 minutes before so that any technical issues you can get resolved before your audience is due to arrive. During the introduction, make sure that structure and procedure is to be followed for your specific event is made absolutely clear. And the attendees are fully aware what is required of them.
Mm.
Identify the planned timing of each section, and if there will be any breaks and how long it will last. And it's always best to ask everyone to stay on mute to avoid distracting noises or until such time as you're ready for comments or questions. And as we've reminded attendees, please do ask your audience to be visible on camera, but do give them the opportunity to stay off camera to alleviate any embarrassment, because on occasion that is the way that it needs to be. And when you're ready for questions, to speed up the process, make it as efficient as possible, advise the attendees to use the reactions tab. Ask them to use the raise hand function so that everyone appears at the top of your screen. That way nobody gets missed. And a great way to gain quick interaction is to ask for one-word answers or to use close questioning to lead to concise responses. Now, I have found this is a very good thing because obviously we can have lots of questions in the chat. So how do you figure out what answer was for one question and what was for the next one? Use the little line on your keyboard to draw a line under that last answer, so you've identified when you're moving on to the next one. And for those of you that are not quite sure, quite new to Zoom, do remember that there are some great functionality on Zoom on the basic version that you pay for, like the option of a co-host and breakout rooms. You just need to remember to set them up before the meeting. So the last section, the benefits of using a Zoom producer, or sometimes known as a technical host. They'll act as a backup to resolve any technical issues that may arise. Technical glitches happen at any time, and you don't want to lose your audience or shut an event down with all the effort that you've put to prepare and make successful. They can admit late arrivals, possibly people that have had tech issues, without disrupting attendees or the flow of the presentation. Can minimize noise distractions, muting unwanted sounds caused by the audience. A second pair of eyes to identify issues that the main host may have missed, like someone trying to attract the host's attention with a vital question, or taking note of all queries and making sure that no question goes unanswered or ignored. How many meetings have you been at when there has only been one host and no one supporting them, and they go, please bear with me while I check in the chat, and we're all lovely people, we always put nice comments, and they tell you to talk amongst yourself while they check for any questions, and you have total silence. No more silences, no more awkward silences when you have a Zoom producer by your side, because they're doing that for you. And of course, worst case scenario, the host drops the link, they disappear. Having a co-host or Zoom producer by your side, they can complete the event. They won't be able to complete the event, but they will be able to close the event down in an orderly and professional manner to avoid embarrassment and any confusion for those in attendance. So thank you for your time today. I appreciate your support. Any questions?
Okay, first of all, round of applause. Why hasn't this information been made available? I mean, I just feel like it's been 3 years, people. She's telling me things I could have. I just want to say again, you're incredible. Now, and someone says I'm rocking the flower. I just want to shout out to you. Thank you. I feel that you touched upon so many awesome things. Is there anything, because we've got a little more time and people, okay, the question that came up again, to monetize being a Zoom producer, if someone's like, oh, you know what, I'd like to be tech support for someone and offer that as a service, how would you suggest someone go about starting to do that?
Well, I think I found it the easiest when I go to network meetings to be able to explain what I do. I don't know if you guys have something similar in the States, but here in the UK, we have the Federation of Small Businesses. And when you attend their online meetings, they have a Zoom producer, technical support with them online. So you can then quite easily say, look, this is what I do. Because
Right.
People can see it in action to understand exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a while thinking that you had to do the whole process for an event, as in you need to organize it and do everything right from start to finish. No, you don't. If your specialty is actually just being there, available through the session, that is what you need to do.
Okay.
I would say keep in touch with business coaches. You know, you might come across, I work with a global training company, so maybe there's a training company that you know in your area that is doing online sessions and could do with the support. That is how I came up with the terminology Zoom producer, because I have to say that's what their terminology was for it. I have to say I'm curious though. Someone this week told me maybe I should be a Zoom concierge. So what does everyone think about Zoom concierge?
That is a good word too. I mean, people in the chat, tell me, what do you think? What do you think has the greatest, like a Zoom producer or a Zoom concierge? I think that could be a great word to introduce. I think that'd be really cool. I just want to say to everybody out there, all right, you know you want to connect with Kristie, because Kristie Norris has all of this incredible information. And how do you do that? All right, go to support@voicesofwomensummit.com with the subject line, connect with Kristie Norris. Want to make sure everybody, I think you should just do that right now. People, you should just get to your email, voicesofwomensummit.com, support@voicesofwomensummit.com, and say, I want to connect with her, because look at all the information she dropped on us today. It's amazing. Kristie, what else? We've got about 5 minutes. Okay. And what else would you like? Oh, and I do want to mention, Do you want a recording of this? I want a recording. That's why I went VP. So go VP, and then you get to listen to this again. All those tips she gave, so relevant. Kristie, what else do you feel people need to know about what you do to help them understand how important it is? As if it's not important enough, if your Zoom drops, you got someone to pick you up. How else do you support people?
I think it is what I do beforehand, because obviously
Okay.
I'm available on the day, but beforehand I spend at least an hour with someone beforehand, listening to what they want the event to be, so that I can help guide what tools they'll need on Zoom, what support they'll need from me on Zoom, and so that it runs as smoothly as possible, because at the end of the day, everybody works differently. Some people will just want me in the background to keep an eye on the chat and not want me to speak. Someone else might want me to be ready with some questions. So if there's an awkward silence, again, how many times have you been on a workshop? Nobody wants to shout up with the first question. So have me as part of it. I can shout up with the question to get people started with the conversation. So it is very personal to you. I listen how you like to work, your vision for the workshop, and I help you pull that together. And of course, at the end of the event, we get together again just to have a bit of feedback to make sure you were happy with everything. Maybe there's tips and tweaks we can do for the next event. And of course, because I do these things on a regular basis, there will be things that I would have seen someone do that I might be able to say, actually, a lovely lady did this at a session. Why don't you give this a try? You know, I mean, not everyone thinks about having their testimonials playing as a video at the beginning of a session, so that there's no talking, they can see they're in the right place. So it gives you that time to let people in early, and you can hear a bit of music and see a video so that it confirms, yes, I've clicked on the right link, I'm in the right place. So yes, it isn't all about the day, it's about everything around it.
I realize, I just want to say before I announce the next speaker, I just want to say thank you, because it was an awkward way of asking it. Thank you for being so gracious. Like, what else? That was so good. Before, during, and after. People, this is why you need Kristie in your life as a Zoom producer. Now we have next up, Brittany Ann is going to talk about unleashing your inner sales superpower. So I am excited for that. Also, all the speakers in the talks, we've got a link in the chat. And now I want to get back to Kristie, because this has been phenomenal. And we do have a couple of minutes. And what are a couple last thoughts that you want to impress upon us to take with us about, because now that I know about the Zoom producer, possibly / concierge, I like that too. But I like producer, because this is a production. I mean, this is a production. And I love how you've been talking about it. And what else would you like to say in our 2 minutes?
I just think time to take back what you do best, sharing knowledge without the distractions, and let me help you make it happen.
Okay, brilliant. So I just want to say, Kristie, this has been incredible. People, support at voicesofwomen.com. But Kristie's got some fans in the audience, so they already know, they're already connected. You need to be connected. Kristie, what is, like, one quick, because we got like 30 seconds, like, what's something that people like, what should people know about Zoom that normally they just don't know? The space bar was a top one. Do you have anything else, or just talk about the space bar again?
What else do I have? I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Well, could you
actually, there is a new thing. Have you seen the broadcast when you have breakout rooms? You know,
No.
that obviously you can type in and it broadcasts, but how many people miss that when you type a broadcast?
Right.
You can actually use your voice. You can send a voice message to all the breakout rooms via broadcast now.
Oh my gosh.
That's got to be the way to go.
That is the way. Use your voice. See, Kristie's brilliant, people. Kristie, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Everybody stay tuned for more awesome speakers today. This is Tiff Loeffler. I appreciate you being here for Voices of Women Summit, and cheers.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing session of the Voices of Women Summit, where our mission is to raise the voices of hundreds of women so their messages can be heard. For recordings of all sessions, plus an amazing VIP gift bundle, upgrade to VIP now. If you have any questions or problems during the summit, email our support team at support@voicesofwomensummit.com. Stay tuned. We have another fantastic speaker coming right up.